What is the difference? What is the difference? Ha. Hey. Okay. I mentioned it. Okay. How I wish. Say that today
Yeah.
I do counts like this. Make no no worry. I will do counts. I will carry my
So,
money go out.
so you said that the Office 365 is the one that has the normal Microsoft apps, like the normal Microsoft applications like the Microsoft Words and uh, Excel and whatever. Then the Microsoft 365 then has services like the Windows operating system. Also has uh, advanced security features. Yeah, and device management
Yes.
too.
It's just the advanced security features. That is enterprise mobility plus
Yeah.
security. I for do carrots today. Today I will just go out with my money. Eh? So we talk about identity. What else do we talk about? What else? 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 Okay. So I think you started recording us already. So let me share my screen. So last week we talk. I said for this class we only be talking about the human identity, and if you look at the identity framework, we said we have both the internal and the external user. So all the discussion we did last week was basically on internal users, internal employees. So we want to talk about external users. If you remember, I said guest, partner, customers, consultants. Just mention them. They might need access to some of your internal workload for them to be able to collaborate with you effectively without you having to create them in your own tenant or assigning license that is costing you additional cost. So majorly today I would like us to talk about it. Then maybe or maybe not. I'm thinking if we can talk about conditional access, then we can now go to um, billings, Microsoft billings, Microsoft billings. But I'm still thinking probably we should take billing then before coming to conditional access. Maybe when we are talking about security, come back to conditional access. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So to know, I don't want anybody to get lost or anybody gets confused. Like last week, Lovina said both what is it called now? PowerShell and Linux scripting that they are siblings. Both of them are confusing. Lovina did not understand. Lovina was lost. So I don't want in case a case where we start looking for people again like Novina, we have to bring them back to the class. So once you can see my screen, please let me know. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
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 Okay. So you
Why
can
do you
see
have Dara Deborah, please?
a long story. You should go and watch our video. Long story. Our domain too is Lovina Speaks. So we are just speaking everybody's name. Even at absent, we still know. We still know. So we've talked about active users. We've talked about contacts. So we'll be starting about guest user. So the funny thing about this guest user is it's not something you can even create directly from the Microsoft 365 admin center. Once you click on add guest user, then it will redirect you straight to Entra ID identity portal. Okay. So if we look at the Entra ID center that we are directed to directly, you can see it gave us two options. It gave us two options. If you say create user is the same thing as add user that we have in Microsoft 365. The add user option that we have here is still the same thing with this create user. If I click on create user now, you can see it's just the same information like the way we have it at the other end. It's just another place where we can create our users. If you remember, the first day I mentioned is that there are four ways we can create our users. We can create from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We can create from the Entra Admin Center. We can decide to use PowerShell, or we can create from the Exchange Admin Center. It all depends on the kind of user we are trying to create. So in this instance, we are not creating a user, we are inviting user. So in place of inviting user, there are other way we can still achieve the same thing we have here. So um, if you have a SharePoint, OneDrive, or Teams, if your organization configuration allow you to add external users to your teams, by inviting the external user to your teams, for them accepting it, it will automatically create them as guest user in your organization. If you share a folder from OneDrive or SharePoint to an external user and you give them any of the permission, either preview, edit, whichever one that you give to the user, it will automatically add them. You will see if you go to the admin center, they used to have something like EXT. Let me bring up the other portal I have here. Let me see if I have anything like that. You see the external user, they do have EXT, blah blah blah. No, don't have any here. Don't have any. Don't have any. Uh, don't have any on this guy. Okay, let me see. Let me sign into another portal. What's going on? Okay. Sorry. MTN, not today. Wow. So while it's still loading, let's just continue. I'll still come back to it. So users that are invited externally, you see their email address, then you see something like EXT, then your domain. So I think we'll be doing one. Somebody should drop their personal email address. So we'll be inviting the person to this tenant. Have anybody? Anybody? Any the way I can say I still use your name again. Anybody? Okay, Lovina, thank you. Lovina came first. How come Lovina is able to create lovina@gmail.com? This email must be a very old email. It must be a very old email. Let me remove Ini and Deura's name. Let me leave Lovina's name. UG. First name, Lovina. Money. Ah. Okay. Do you have any personal message? Please accept the invite.
Use the
Group and
second one.
which one?
There is one I dropped last.
Oh. So I was thinking, I saw it from the first one. So I was surprised that you are able to create a Gmail account with lovina@gmail.com. Lovina is a very common name. So for you to be able to create it, it means any role, no. Group, no. Log signing, no. Location, Canada. Job title, CTA, Chief Technology Architect Department, IT, Company, Tara Diwura. So we don't have manager. So we can click on invite. So Lovina accept our invite. Once you accept, please let us know. Can you see? Can you see what I was saying earlier? So once you check your users and you see this guy, and you see once you see this guy, just know the guy, this person is what? External user. Just know the person is what? External user. So these are external user look like. But however, as I said, not necessarily you come here to invite them. You can always invite them directly from SharePoint, from Teams, if your organization configuration permits inviting outsider, because there are some that does not permit bringing in guest users. And we said the guest user might be a consultant, your customer, whichever one that you need to work with. But if they are not those that you need to work with, they are just people you want to send emails. We mentioned it last week. Those ones will be on your contacts list. They will be on your contacts list. So the final part under users that we have here, deleted users. So in Microsoft, a user can be restored back after 30 days. After 30 days, if there is no old, we'll still get there when it gets to Exchange. If there is no old, this guy is going to be deleted. It will not be inactive or soft deleted user. Every information attached to that guy will go. However, the OneDrive will still remain. I want to remember, I think for 60 days. After 60 days, even if I share with you, after 30 days, that my identity is no longer here, all my OneDrive SharePoint file I share with you, we still have access to it. Then after 60 days, gone, gone, gone. You can't recover them again if there is no any form of hold. And users that you have here, we have created another user before coming here to restore that user. You will not be able to restore the user. There will be conflict with the user that is currently active. So it's either you delete the current active user, then you can restore this user, or if you decide to restore this user by force, it will now add suffix or prefix to that person's name to differentiate that person from the old user, and to permanently delete a user. To permanently delete a user, you have to go to the Entra ID admin center to do that. From here, you can only delete user after 30 days before they will permanently delete. But if you need to delete the user instantly after deleting it from here, then you come to the Entra admin center to permanently delete whoever you need to delete. So I can do a sample for us. Then we can go to licensing. Maybe tomorrow can now go to conditional access. Alice Johnson in at delete. Close. So we come to our deleted users. We see this our guys here. But we come to this place, come to users. You can see all users still loading. Then you can come to deleted user. Can you see this place? If I check this user or all user, you can see delete permanently, restore user. But if you come to the Office 365, I click on this guy. The only thing I'm seeing is what? Restore. There is no option to permanently delete the user. So I can only do that from the Entra admin center. Understood?
Yes.
Understood? Okay. I believe everybody understood users, contacts, guest users now. Any question before we proceed? Any question?
First, can you go to the HID portal again?
What do you want to see? Let me leave. I guess this person is taking screenshots. You are taking my screen. Go and reproduce it yourself. So that is that, because I want us to deal finally with users. If you remember all the users we have created so far, we did not assign license to anybody. So that's why I say, okay, maybe we should just go to billing, talk about billing, then we can proceed. Can proceed. If you want to agree with me, billing, that is finance, is important aspect of every business, irrespective. There will always be a department where money comes. They are in charge of any amount that comes in, the inflow and the outflow, cash inflow and outflow, whichever means, either transfer, crypto, any form. So far as inflow and outflow of money, there will always be a department. And if it's a small business, at least the owner is always in charge of the inflow and the outflow. So in Microsoft also, Microsoft have a department that dealt with billings, anything regarding billings, we call them commerce. In Microsoft, we call them commerce. We have the enterprise commerce, we have the concierge um, commerce. So I'm looking for the simplest way to explain it so we can get it. So when we are talking about this commerce in Microsoft, there are different way you purchase your licenses. It's still from Microsoft, either direct or indirect. So like those of us in Nigeria, we are aware of Dangote refinery, and we are aware that Dangote is supplying some filling station like AP and MRS. So if I go to buy from MRS, maybe I go there with my jerry can or my car to fill my tank. I bought it from MRS. indirectly, I bought the petrol from who? From Dangote, because it came from Dangote refinery. So Dangote sold it to MRS. Then I bought directly from MRS. But however, if I have the means enough, instead of going to MRS, I can decide to buy directly from Dangote without MRS having to interfere between both of us. Are we getting it? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so if you are getting license from Microsoft, four things is involved. Four things are actually involved. We have the cloud solution provider. That is a Microsoft, I think, model for cloud, Microsoft Cloud Service, if I remember, model for Microsoft Cloud Service. So we have the cloud solution provider. We know them as CSP. Uh, then we have the enterprise agreement, we have direct billing, then we have the trial. So for the tenants we are using to reproduce currently, we see that what we have there is what? Trial license. So for the trial license, it can take up to 30 to 90 days, 30 to 90 days for trial license, which is what some of us are currently using. So for the cloud solution provider, they are Microsoft partners. So they buy directly, they have their own tenants the way we have it also. So they buy directly from Microsoft and you go to them, you buy from them. So some people felt it is more easier to buy from them. One, because they support your tenants. If you have issues or the others, you can always reach out to them. They are ready to help you. Most of the Microsoft partners I know. So that is one. And two, they sell, some sell it even more cheaper than what Microsoft sells directly. They sell it more cheaper. So I don't know how it works, but the little information I have about them is just like your utility bill. What is it called? Eco or Ikeja, whichever place you find yourself, Ibadan, electricity. You know, the higher you purchase, the more token you'll be given. So the partners also, if you go to buy with big partners, there's chances that the license will be more cheaper than buying from small partners. So big partners, they buy more licenses and they get it more at cheaper rates. They can now decide to sell it any amount they do what they they want. So that is if you are buying from partner. So the second one is enterprise agreement. So the enterprise agreement, under this, the billing, um, what is it called? The Microsoft what do you what do you call this? EF, everything, they fall into this. But moreover, the enterprise agreement is more like a paid support. A paid support, that is, there must be a technician available 24/7 to support planned services, end user technical training, maybe new technology like Microsoft Copilot now, AI. You teach people about the Copilot Studio, how to automate, which are the things that are trending most now. So you come and do what and teach them, and those ones also, they have agreements with Microsoft, which means beyond buying license, they have account officers that they can speak to directly in Microsoft. That is the enterprise agreement. And the last one here, I think we've talked about the trial. The last one is the direct billing, which is what we'll be talking much about. So the direct billing means you buy and pay for your Microsoft license subscription with a credit card, a debit card, wire transfer or a bank account directly from Microsoft. You are buying directly from Microsoft. Um, did I convince or confuse you before I continue? Can I continue?
Okay, sorry. Let me get something.
Okay.
The cloud solution provider, that is number one. You say that
Yes.
they are Microsoft partners.
Yes.
Okay, like they buy from Microsoft, then I sell to the end users.
Yes. Yes. So they provide billing support and technical support.
But the other one, the enterprise agreement.
Yes.
You
So
can
let
say,
me let me let me add this to the cloud solution provider. So the reason why a lot of people prefer that cloud solution provider, Microsoft support, they are virtual support. They don't come physically to your offices to support you. But there are some partners that have physical support. They are just somewhere around where you live. They come to your office direct to your system to help you with wherever you want to do. So some users prefer those ones, especially the organization maybe at initial stage. They don't have money to afford IT, you get, so they prefer the Microsoft partners than buying directly from Microsoft. So the enterprise agreement. So majorly the enterprise agreements, they are always um, they are designed for organization that want to purchase Microsoft license for minimum of 3 years period. Minimum of 3 years period. So which means you are paying upfront. If we have anybody here that have worked with Microsoft, there are some organizations once they rate a ticket, if you are unfortunate and you pick their ticket, there will be a lot. Michael, no, Michael, I just have some jottings on my notepad. That's why I'm just bringing out the points and I'm explaining. I don't have this. The slide I have here is for something else entirely I was working on. So the enterprise agreement, I want to use Microsoft directly. So as I was saying, like IBM, if IBM should raise a ticket and you are working as Microsoft support, if you pick that ticket, before 10 minutes, you will have seen a lot of emails and email. They'll be asking you, what is the update on this ticket? What are you doing on this ticket? What's all those people, they are paid support. They paid Microsoft for support. They don't use free support because of the agreements they have. That is one. And two, if there is downtime, all those SI service degradation, this one, based on the agreements they have with Microsoft, there are some amount of money that Microsoft will do what will pay to them for the lost. You get it? So that is what the person that is asking the difference between enterprise agreement and Microsoft partner. That is one of the major differences between the cloud, the partners, and the enterprise agreement. And don't forget, enterprise agreement is still directly from Microsoft. But in this case now, you are doing a paid support, not a free support, and you have an agreement with Microsoft. An agreement with Microsoft. Okay. So let me put it this way. As I said earlier, I want to buy petrol from Dangote. I have organization and we deal with trucks. So we ship things from the north down to the east and the south, the southwest. So we want to have agreements with Dangote that all our truck, once they come into your um, refinery, you fill them up directly. We are not going to buy from anybody the next 3 or 5 years. We are only going to buy from you. But any day we come here and we did not see, because we are buying only from you, which means that day our truck will not be able to work. You will pay us for the lost. Do we understand the enterprise agreement? I just want to put it in a layman language so that we can understand what that enterprise agreement means. And also, whenever we come to your organization, if you have any issue with our truck, you have a specialized paid support person. We are paying you for us to have a support person 247 that will help us to fix our truck, then we can get running. So that is just the a way I can put it in layman language so we can understand what the enterprise agreement actually looks like. Lovina, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can speak, Lovina.
No, it's clear. I understand.
Okay. So as I said earlier, that the direct billing is where we will dwell the much. So under the direct billing now, or should I call it billing management from the Microsoft admin center, we have the Microsoft Online Service Program. We have the um, Microsoft Product and Services Agreement Program, I think MPSA, and the last one, MCA. So the first one, it falls under MOSA, Microsoft Online Service Agreement. So how should I put every of them? So majorly the common one is MOSA and MCA. So MOSA is what Microsoft used before, and there are still some tenants that make use of it. So that will take us to tenants.
This is Musa.
MOSA, Microsoft Online Service Agreement. MOSA. Or you can pronounce it any way you want. But that is how we pronounce it for anybody so that they will get it. So the second one is Microsoft Customer Agreement, MCA. Can we continue? So we have the Microsoft Products Services Agreement Program also. So majorly that is now common with Microsoft 365, since we are not talking about other aspect of Microsoft for now. When we started talking about Azure and Azure billing orders, then we'll buttress more on that. But for now, we'll be talking majorly on MOSA and MCA. So before, Microsoft used MOSA. Even till now, some tenants still make use of that MOSA um, kind of license. Please, a minute. Somebody is knocking my door. Oh, sorry about that. So we can continue. So as I said, some tenants still makes use of it, but the normal commercial tenants, they are started moving from MOSA to MCA. So this is how MOSA work. Initially, you use the license, and whatever you use at the end of the month, pay for it. I think we have it too in Nigeria. I think MTN, prepaid and postpaid. Am I right? So I think MOSA is postpaid. You use the services first. At the end of the month, whatever you used, you are do what you are charged for it. But MCA, you pay for it first. After paying for it, then you can start using it. If you now decided that, okay, I paid for 5 at the beginning of the month, at mid of the month, I decide to reduce it to 3. Microsoft will calculate the money, and the remaining money for the 2 weeks that he did not use that 2 license, Microsoft will refund it back to you. So it's like a revised psychology. One is postpaid, one is prepaid. You know, if you are using postpaid MTN line, you keep calling and calling. At the end of the month, whatever you use, they deduct it directly from your bank account. In case of prepaid, you go recharge your account first. And if you decide to load 10,000 and decide to use only 1,000, then fine, you still have your 9,000. But in case of Microsoft, the remaining one will be refunded back to you. You know you have paid already. So aside from that, we also have consumption and fixed cost model. This is common with Azure and Teams calling plan. They call it pay as you go, Teams calling plan. So you buy call credits and others that you use to cost, and we have fixed price, which means you are charged for instance whether you use it or not. When you see fixed price is common. Most of these prices I'm mentioning, they are common with Azure. Once you pay for it, either you use it or not, now your own cup of tea be that. Now your own cup of tea be that. So what can we do in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center from billing? That is billing management. We can manage subscription and licenses. So if I go to billing, so in some tenants, you will not see marketplace. What you see is purchases. Instead of this marketplace, you see purchases. It will be under this option. But in our own instance now, since it's just a small business tenant, you see marketplace. So this marketplace is like your Google Play, where you can get any of your applications. So this marketplace also is where you can get any license you want. Any license you want in Microsoft 365 if your tenants qualify for it, because your tenant is not all subscription they qualified for. There are some subscription you need to activate for others to show up in your marketplace or purchases. So currently, if you go to billing account, so if you come to our billing account, look at what we have here. You can see is MCA. Look at it. Type. This is MCA, which means we pay for the license before we do what? Before we use it. And the funny thing is, you can't migrate from MCA to MOSA, but you can move from MOSA to MCA. There are a lot of licenses like Copilot. You don't have it on MOSA. You want to buy it. Copilot is on MCA alone. On MCA alone. So that is so we can view our bill statement. That is bill and payment. Not sure we should have any invoice yet since it's a trial. Oh, we have invoice. Can you see? because it's trial, we have 0. So you can view your billing statement, modify payment method, modify billing frequency. That is, if you remember recurring billing, I was saying it last time that you can you should disable recurring billing so that you don't get charged. So that is billing frequency. Is it billing frequency? You can see recurring billing. So you need to do what? Get this guy. You can manage this guy. So you can buy and manage other services and feature, manage billing notification, invoice, and attachments. Everything can be done here, one after the other. If you look at licenses, this is the paid license I have, billing and payment. I'll see my invoice and payments method. So I can decide to add another payments method. Yeah, if I want to. So I only have one payment method at the moment. So if I want to add another payment method, I can I can add it. So you can either use credit card, debit card, wire transfer. Some other options depend on the country you are currently that you can use to make payments. So billing accounts, seen it already. Lovina speaks. So our location is Victoria Island, blah blah blah. Payment method, credit card. This is our credit card. Billing notification, definitely. I'm the only admin in that tenant. So global admin. So it's sent to my email and my alternative email address. Cost management, we have no cost that we are managing. So that is just a brief summary of Microsoft billing. Let me see if I omit anything from my jottings. Before I continue, any other thing? Any other thing?
You are
Okay, so
fast.
I'm fast.
Yes.
Thank you. So he said, Lavina said I should press break. So let me take everything again then. Let me take it again. So I said billing and billing management options. Microsoft 365 billing. We have the MOSA, which is Microsoft Online Service Agreement. We have the Microsoft Product Services and Services Agreement. And we have the Microsoft Customer Agreement. So I mentioned the one we'll be dwelling on is MOSA and MCA, which is what Microsoft 365 tenants use the most, and some part of consumption and fixed cost payment method, which is pay as you go. So I mentioned Teams calling plan to make calls, and I also said we have the fixed price. The fixed price means what are the goods that I know in Nigeria, once you buy it, you can't return it. You know that woman down your street there now, once your mother sends you a message, she asks you to buy something, but you decide to buy something else. You can't go back to her to return it. So that is fixed price, irrespective of wherever you get. You can't do what? You can't return it and you'll not be refunded for it. Either you use it or not. So I now said the difference between MOSA and MCA is this. MOSA is postpaid. Whatever you use at the end of the month, then you get paid. So Microsoft now discovered that a lot of people who subscribe to their license, then when it's time for payment, they they remove their card, or they use, or they block the credit card, that Microsoft will not be able to deduct their payments. You get, which means they've used the service. It's now time to pay. Then you decide to play smart. So the CEO of Microsoft now is an Indian person, just like you using a Nigerian person as a CEO of a company. Always look of a way to outsmart whoever think they are smarter than us. So they came up with another agreement entirely, which is the Microsoft customer agreement. So in the Microsoft customer agreement, the first thing you do is you pay for whatever you want to use. So after paying for it, then you can start using it. So if you pay for 10, then mid-month, probably you have 10 staff. Then mid-month, five of them decide not to work for you again. They decide to move to INI because INI is paying higher than you do. Then you can go back to Microsoft, come to the billing admin center, do what? Reduce your license count, which in MCA you can't do directly by yourself. You have to raise Microsoft support, so they will reduce it from the back end. So you only use it for 2 weeks. The remaining 2 weeks, Microsoft will they'll consolidate whatever you used and refund your remaining money for the 5 licenses you did not use for 2 weeks. They refund it back to you. So the following month, you only pay for your 5 going forward, only if you decide to increase the count of that license again, contrary to MCA Musa, sorry, that I can decide to use 100 and not pay at the end of the month. So from there, then we'll now move to billing management. So before I do a recap on the billing management again, any question, Lovina, am I still fast?
It's okay now.
Okay, thank you. So I said the next one is billing management, which is what we have on our screen. So there are some things that can be done from the billing admin center. One is manage your subscription and licenses, view your billing statements, modify payment method, modify billing frequency, buy and manage other services of future, manage billing notification, email, and invoice attachment. So I started with manage subscription and licenses. So you can come to your product. So this is my product. If I click on this, then she give me option of what I can do. Which product do I choose? Enter ID is free. It's not Enter ID and also it's business basic. You can see. So there are options that it will give to me. I can manage my licenses from here. Assuming it's a paid license, I will be asked if I want to reduce my license count. You can see recurring billing, which is the modified billing frequency. If I come to this place, I can decide, see. So which means after December, let this license do what? Expire. I don't want to renew this license again. I can click on save. Jason, this subscription will expire. So that is frequent billing. And I can decide to cancel it outrightly. I can decide to cancel the subscription outrightly without anything. So you can see this is when it will expire. I think they have given me option to extend the trial date again. Let me see. Can I click on it? I can't click on it. Maybe because let me go and put this guy on again. Let me put it on again. Let me see if I can extend to 90 days. Yeah. Do I have option to click on this guy? I still can't click on this guy. What is going on? When trial, blah, 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 your pay subscription begin. They play. Trying to see if I can extend the trial. So while waiting for that, so I said payment method. You can decide to modify your payments method based on your location. There are some other payments method available to some other people outside Nigeria, maybe in Europe, in the US, that we don't have in Africa. Also in Europe, there are working Microsoft store that you can work in, buy your license, like your Microsoft 365 license. Probably you are trying to renew your license and it's not going through. You can walk into their shop, then you can walk into their shop, then you can get your product key. You come to your Microsoft 365 admin center, then you can use that product key to activate your subscription, or to extend your subscription, or to renew your subscription, whichever one. So, and we are looking for your invoice. You can always come here. You will see all your invoices one after the other. You see them here, you see the cost and the breakdown. Even if Microsoft send you a refund, you still see the invoice of that refund listed here. So that is just summary of what I explained, Lovina. So any other person then before we proceed? Any other person before we proceed? Okay. I believe there is no other person. Let me see. Let me sign out on this guy. Try to sign in on this guy. I want to show us something. No, use a different account. Sorry, so I just want to explain something for us to be able to get it. What happened? Mm. So I want to talk about available subscriptions and plan, which brings about what I've been explaining in billings, since I just want us to get some of those things before coming to this available subscription and plan. So in Microsoft, we have, let me say, we have 5 types of tenants. We have 5 types of tenants. Who wants to try? Who wants to try to mention some of the tenants we have? Who wants to try to mention some of the tenants you have? Should I start calling him? Tara, Ini, Jarvis, Benga, Alabi, Joseph Alabi, Jadesola. Who else? Who else?
Can I say them?
Yes, we are here. Types
You
of
said
tenants. Who wants to try?
4 types of tenants. Abi?
Yes. Types of Microsoft 365 tenants that we have.
You have a personal tenant.
Personal tenants. Okay.
You have
Okay,
commercial.
but not true. No.
We have
Okay.
E5.
I'm not saying
Three.
subscription. I'm not saying subscriptions. I said tenants.
Okay, tenant, not subscription. Okay,
Mhm.
sorry. Uh,
Me, I'm not sure me I know it like this. That
Pardon?
confused and confused. You are
You are what?
confused and confused me. I'm not sure I understand your question.
I said we
So,
have different types of Microsoft tenants. So I'm now asking who can try the kind of Microsoft tenants we have.
what would have come to my own mind? Of course, I may not have mentioned, hey, sorry about this noise. Although I may not have mentioned personal, but I would have said business, Office 365, and enterprise. But I'm
Can
not
give you
sure
straight
now if
blue.
it's correct.
That is subscription. If I give you straight blue,
Uh,
Joanne, you want to say something? Tap why you can speak
Hello.
if you want to.
Hello.
Yeah, Joanne, you can speak.
Okay, yeah. Good evening. There's, I think, is this student tenant or something like that? I don't know. I know
Okay.
students usually have like, yeah.
Okay.
Hello. So there is a production tenant.
I know there's some,
There's
I say not
tenant.
safe again.
Hello, can
Non-profit
you hear
business.
me?
Yes, you can hear you, Ibrahim. I'm sorry,
There's
Samuel.
okay, so there's production tenants, there's a developer tenants, there's a sandbox, like test environment tenants. So those are the three tenants that I know of.
Okay. Thank you. You're on your way, but not yet there. Brian, you want to say something? Ini is not on this call. What happened?
I'm not sure if I'm right. I just want to say global. Oh no, that one is admin. Sorry.
Another person wants to try.
Single tenants. Am I right?
Okay, so why I'm talking about tenants is because the kind of tenants you have will determine the kind of subscription you will see at your marketplace. I don't know why this guy is not loading. Maybe Zen Sender is just doing their thing. Because what we are using in Wisdom Way Academy is different from the kind of tenants we have here. So we have the normal commercial tenants, as Joanne have said. It's called education tenants. Okay, I think Tapua mentioned it. Education tenants, not student tenants. Education tenants. So the first one is the commercial tenant, or production tenant, anyhow you want to call it. Well, everything is production, but let's just use commercial tenants. Then education tenants. Then non-profit, as Tara mentioned, non-profit tenants. We have the government tenants. Which other one again? We have the developer tenants. So the person that mentioned sandbox, sandbox, trial, everything, it falls under developer tenants, or some people call it contoso. They'll call it contoso or MSFT tenants. Everything falls under developer tenants. So those are the tenants we have in Microsoft. So that commercial tenants now, under that commercial, it falls in two places. That is where we have the enterprise and the normal business tenants under that commercial tenants. So why am I saying this? If you are using um commercial tenant, the kind of subscription you'll be seeing is what we saw the other time. You'll be seeing our business basic, business standard, business premium, exchange plan one standalone, exchange plan two. You see your E3, E1 license, F1, F3 license, and others like that in a commercial tenants. But if you come to education tenants, what you'll be seeing is you will not see all those E, this and that. What you'll be seeing is A1, A2, A3 kind of license. So if you go to education tenants, what you'll be seeing is different from what you have in commercial tenants. So if you go to non-profit, the kind of license you'll be seeing there also is different. You'll be seeing they can write E3 or business premium, then in front you see donation or non-profit in front of it. So you know that this one is what is non-profit tenant. Then we have the government tenant, as the name sound, G this one, G that one, G everything. You see it, but those are common in the US only. I'm not sure another country has that government tenants. I've only seen it much in the US government departments. So there is government tenants, and we have a what is it called? Our developer tenants. So I just have to put it like that so we can understand subscription. If you don't understand those tenants, then it will be difficult for you to understand subscription. So out of all the tenants I have said so far, the only two that is our business is commercial tenants, and the other one is not a tenant. Tenant means there are some most of the part is managed by you, not by Microsoft. The personal or home, or they call it personal home or family license, is not managed by you, is managed by Microsoft. So we can't call it what? Tenants. We can't call it tenants. Tenant is when you can manage it, you can decide to do. You are the landlord. They call you global admin. So you are the landlord. You can decide to do and undo on that tenant. So we'll be talking majorly on the Microsoft 365 subscriptions. So for the Microsoft 365 subscriptions, we have the common one. They are actually three, which is business basic, standard, and business premium. Business basic, business standard, and business premium. So who can tell me the difference between these three? The differences between these three. Oh yeah, make one talk. I think I have some documents opened. Is it here? I think I downloaded it somewhere. Yes, I think here or here. I can't remember. I know I saw the documentation before we started class. Yes, this is it here. So who can tell me the major differences between business basic, business standard, business premium, Microsoft 365 app for business? So I think our time is limited, so I will just be explaining it one after the other. So business basic comes with our office application, as I explained last week. Then including Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, and other applications, and a 50 gig um, Exchange mailbox. So there are some documentation. I think I might send it to the group. You can pick it up from there. You see some of the explanation one after the other. I think license documentation. Yeah, I think this is Microsoft license documentation that explains everything. I just want us to deal with license today so we can move on next tomorrow to something else entirely. So, but the limitation of Business Basic is this: you can't use any of the Office application on your app, which means you can't download it on your app to install them on your laptop, on your system to install them, but you can use them on your mobile phone and on your browser, which means on the web. You can only use them on the web. So currently Microsoft also came up with another license due to some region policies. So there are some license called Microsoft 365 Business Basic No Teams. No Teams, as the name implies, it does not support Microsoft 365 Teams. It has every other thing. That is not as expensive as the conventional Microsoft 365 Business Basic. So if we now come to the next one, which is the business standard, the business standard has everything that the Business Basic has. In addition, you can download Office application. So if I say Office application, I mean Word, Excel, PowerPoint, which other one again, Access, and some other ones. Download it on your PC and use them locally, even if there is no internet. So in addition to that, now the Business Premium now has everything that's Business Standard and Business Basic as, in addition to its security features. It has security features that is not included in Business Standard and Business Basic. Why am I dwelling on this? This is the most common license that people use the most, businesses use the most, because I think from 600, it used to be from 300 downward, but now Microsoft have increased it from 600 downward. They call them concierge cost tenants, which is a Microsoft modern workplace tenant, not an enterprise tenant. So the last part is the Microsoft 365 app for business. Now I have my email somewhere else. I don't want to use Microsoft email. I don't want to use your SharePoint. I don't need anything, but I need to download Microsoft Office on my PC. I need to use it, and I needed OneDrive also. Then I can purchase the Microsoft 365 app for business only, only, only. So once the organization is beyond 300 users currently, then they are no longer concierge or a business category customer again. They are now enterprise category customer. But I think Microsoft is coming up with another standard. They want to move it from 300 to 600. So if we are from 300 downward, they call them business category. So from 300 or upward, that is 301 upward, they call them enterprise category. So in the enterprise category now, we have the E1, E3, E5, F1, F3, what is it called? E5, then Microsoft 365 app for enterprise. App for enterprise. So who will explain this to us? Let me put it in the chat. I want someone else to pick it one after the other. Or if you can only pick one out of it, tell us the features that we have in that one. Then we can move to the next. Nobody wants to say anything. Interesting.
Please, what's the question again?
So I've explained Microsoft 365 Basic, Standard, Premium, and Apps. So I need somebody now to now explain the enterprise licensing. Okay, so let me put it this way so we can understand. If you check what we have on the screen, we have Office 365 license, then we have the Microsoft 365 license. From the explanation I gave you last week, you should not be confused. Once you see Office 365 and you see Microsoft 365, am I right? I think we still did a revision about it today. Is that correct? We're gonna talk now.
Yes.
Okay, Samuel answer yes. So what was the discussion about it today? What do we discuss earlier today about Office 365 and Microsoft 365?
So can you come again?
So
Enterprise.
I put some licenses. If you check the chart, we have some licenses there. So I ask every someone to pick one or two out of it and explain. Nobody answered. So now, I now said from what we have on the screen, we have Office 365. If you see there, you see Office 365, E3, E5, then you still see Microsoft 365, E3, E5. So I now said before we proceed, I want to believe we understand the Office 365 and the Microsoft 365 as as I explained last week, and we did a revision of it today.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Okay. So what was our discussion earlier, Mike?
Okay. We said that the Office 365 is majorly about the productivity apps like the Excel, Microsoft Word. Yeah. Why the Microsoft 365 encompasses the Office 365 and the security features. Yeah. And Windows too.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you again. So if you see what we have on the screen, we have the Office 365, then we have the F3 Microsoft 365 F, we have the Microsoft 365 E. From what you said now, I believe everybody know what Office 365 is. Office 365 is office application and every other thing Microsoft has aside the mobility and security feature for any of the Office 365 licenses. They don't have the security. Only if they decide to buy additional. Okay, only if they decide to buy additional add-on add-on license, Microsoft mobility and security in addition to what they have. So if you look at the E and the F, so the E means let me remember, trying to remember now. I remember it just a few minutes ago. How come now? The thing just come on my head. Okay, the E means information workers and the F means frontline workers. The E means information workers. The E means information workers, while the F means frontline workers. So the frontline workers are those like those that work in factories, cleaners, wells, all those people that does not need a dedicated form of work to assets. They don't need laptop or computer to work with. Those are frontline workers. And if you see the F1 license, the F1 license do not have mailbox, but it give you the feasibility to join Teams meeting. Also, you can open Word documents, but you cannot edit. You can only read the F1 license. You can only open, it's only read only access you have. You can open any Microsoft document, but you can't edit it. You can only do what? You can only view whatever that is there. So that is, and it has I think OneDrive storage, 2 gig OneDrive storage. However, the F3 on the other end, you can use the web version. You can edit Word documents on the web. You have Exchange Mailbox, 2 gig mailbox, mailbox size, and OneDrive also 2 gig mailbox size. So all these licensing, we need to understand them very well, especially if you are head of IT or you are the one in charge of their Microsoft 365 admin center, or you are working as Microsoft 365 support. This licensing is very, very important for you to understand. Let me give you a brief issue that happened. So when I was working as Microsoft support, then there was this case that came in. I'm trying to remember the issue. Trying to remember the issue. I think maybe customer cannot join a meeting. Okay, the customer mailbox is filled. They now started complaining that the mailbox gets filled every month. Every month, the mailbox gets filled. And the next thing that was written there is escalate. They don't want to talk to anybody. They only want to talk to escalation engineer, because every month that person mailbox gets filled up. And me, I just started work. I don't even know what to do. So I was asking the customer some question. The customer was not ready to talk to me. Says, is either you give this thing to an escalation engineer, or you give it to your manager. Or you give it to your manager. So I was like, wherever that I've worked with US, or you know that they are totally different from Nigerians. They don't have Africans, they don't hide their feelings. They tell you directly the way it is. After a lot of front and back, well, grudgingly, I just walk up to my TL and explain to him, Ashim, look at what is happening. Oh." Ashim said it's not possible. Why would a mailbox filled up every month, every month? Behold and behold, when Ashim would do his findings, we discover that it was a kiosk license that was assigned to the user. What is kiosk license? Kiosk license is like Exchange Plan 1, but it's not as much as Exchange Plan 1. It's a 2 gig mailbox. All you can do is just sign in email. You can't do any other thing. 2 gig mailbox. Sign in email, send email, receive email. That is for users that are not heavy users they hardly receive email. That is what the mailbox is meant for. Meanwhile, the customer was saying that the user have a 50 gig mailbox, and the 50 gig mailbox gets filled every day. We have to tell the customer our findings, then the customer check from his own end. Then he actually find out that it was kiosk license that was assigned to the user. Then he apologized and went. Now imagine, assuming I don't have team lead. So technical lead, sorry. So what am I trying to say? In your organization, everybody does not require the same kind of license. Everybody do not require the same kind of license. So if you have people that are in sales team that just need to send email. They don't need much email to send. They just need information. You can always use that kiosk license. So let's come back to what we have in our front. So I have explained the Microsoft 365 F and E. So the E1, Office 365 E1 that you are seeing there is a sibling of Business Basic. Office 365 E1 and Business Basic, they are siblings. But the reason why you are seeing E now in your tenant, you are no longer seeing Business Basic, is because your users are already beyond 300. So that is an enterprise tenant. Get me right, it's not the same thing with enterprise agreements we said earlier. It's not the same thing with enterprise agreements. Don't flash back and go to my enterprise agreements. Once if your tenant is enterprise tenant, you can decide to go and sign enterprise agreement. Even if your tenant is business, if you have the money, you can decide to go and sign enterprise agreement with what? With Microsoft. So once I say enterprise tenant, please, it's not the same thing as enterprise agreement. If you remember when I was explaining it, I used Dangote for explanation, Dangote refinery for our explanation. Let me see if this guy have come up. Yeah, it's not coming up. I don't know why MTN is just misbehaving today. So, which is that for the E1? So the E3, I would have said is almost the same thing like business standard, but the difference between business standard and E3 is E3 has additional mailbox of 100 gig. That is, it has exchange plan 2, not exchange plan 1. So in addition to whatever E3 and E1 has, E5 has more than them. So the best way to just describe Office 365 E1 to E5 is just pick Business Basic, Business Standard, Business Premium. With that, you can easily get the first three, which is Office E1, E3, and E5. These things confuse me a lot. Sorry, this confused me a lot when I started using Microsoft 365 tenants. I used to think Office 365 E1, E3, E5 is the same thing as Microsoft 365 E3, E5. There's no Microsoft 365 E1 again. E3, I think there used to be E2 before, E5. So I used to think they are the same thing. Not until later that I discovered that they are actually two different licenses entirely. So before I continue, let me just come back to what I said earlier. If you remember, if you look at these tenants, you can see what you are seeing here. Purchase services. But if you come back to this place, look at what you are seeing. Marketplace. If I click on this purchase services, it's still the same thing with what we have in marketplace. Network is slow. Can you see? If you look at this place and this place, you can see. But here we have marketplace, but here we have purchase services. So don't get confused. Don't get confused. If you go to your tenant, you not see marketplace, just look for purchase services. They are siblings. And if you look at the kind of license we are seeing here, you can see Teams, Microsoft Business Premium, Exchange Plan 1, VCO. But let's come to this guy. Can you see it? Students, faculty, A3 for students. Everything you'll be seeing here is education, education, because this Wisdom World tenant is education tenant, is edu tenant, not like the normal business tenant, which is what I've been loading this guy for, and it's not coming up. So do we get that part? So I think I've talked about Microsoft 365 E1, E3, E5. So if you look at the Microsoft 365 F3, it said it includes Office 365 F3, which means everything Office 365 F3 has. In addition to that, the security feature, mobility plus security. Don't forget when we said the difference between Microsoft 365 and Office 365. So if you look at the E3 also, it includes everything that Office 365 have with the Microsoft mobility and the Windows plan. So the same thing goes to E5. And if you look at the Microsoft 365 app for enterprise, the same thing, they are the same sibling with Microsoft 365 app for business. But now, because your tenant is above 300 users, your tenant is now an enterprise tenant. So your license, that business for app license will change to the enterprise license. I don't know if I explained this better. I'm coming. I think I downloaded a documentation earlier. I think this is volume license. Coming. Then there is a documentation that explains everything. Okay. Look for that guy. I think this is the guy that explain it. Okay, I think this is the guy. Can you see? This is the guy that explained it. I will send it to the group. Let me drop the guy in the group so that can give us more explanation on Microsoft 365 licenses. So aside from all the licenses that I have mentioned so far, there is another license that is called they call it add-on. They call them add-on license. Just the same way we have our F3, we also have Microsoft 365 add-on license like Exchange Plan One. There is OneDrive license, a lot of add-ons. I'm coming. I think I should be able to show us some. Just send this guy. Okay, so let me come back here. I think there should be option for add-ons at the top. Add-ons. Want to filter? There used to be add-ons here. Oh, which tenant am I? Yeah, this is the right tenant now. Other services. Okay, can you see this? Advanced security add-ons for business premium. You see a lot of add-on licenses. So add-on is always additional features or a standalone. Like this is a standalone solution. Can you see Exchange Plan One, Plan Two? They are standalone solutions. I have a user in my organization. All he needed is just email. So I don't see reason why I should buy business basic for the person when I can buy Exchange Plan One. I think for $3, $3 or $4. Why business basic is like I think $8 with tax and everything. So why do I have to spend that much when I can buy something less? You only needed email, so I can decide to do what? Buy this guy. I can decide to buy this guy. Let's look for business basic. Okay, business basic is 6.3. Why this one is 4.2? So why should I buy this guy when all you needed is just email? So you can send email, you have archive, calendar, and wherever you needed around emails. So I can pick exchange plan one. If it is a large user, probably a service mailbox, they only needed mailbox. That is an heavy user. That is 100 gig mailbox. Then I can decide to just go for this guy instead of going for business premium. Why should I do business premium when all what the user needed is what is mailbox? So I don't need to buy additional license. So the licensing helps a lot to cut cost in the organization. And don't forget, the kind of license you have will determine the kind of feature that will be available to the user. Remember from the start, I said there are two things that limit people in Microsoft 365. One is license, second is role. The role you have and the licenses you have in your tenants will determine the features that will be available to you, either as admin or user. So your role and the available licenses will determine it. So I think that is all on licenses. Then we can decide to assign our license now to our users. Then let me just show you one or two things that people find. Where is Tara? Yes. So this is one thing you need to know. If you look at this guy, can you see this guy? Can you see this guy? If I come to other users that are saying no license, let me click this guy. If I click on mail, see, can you see? Does not have any. Like, if I come to OneDrive, see, there is no license. If I come down here and I decide to assign a license to this person, save. I just needed to give it some time. Still provisioning. Okay, you can see now based on the license I assigned to the guy, those features will show. Still provisioning, that's why it's fluctuating. Provision now. How to provision mailbox? While this one is provisioning, so let's use Tara. So if you look at here, because the user has what is happening? Is it affecting Tara too? Tara has license since now. Okay. So you can see the mailbox information. This is just the basic information about the mailbox. We have them here. So this guy have a license. That's why you are seeing it. So if you assign a license to a user and you don't want the user to have access to all applications that license as probably you don't want a mailbox to provision for that user. You don't want the user to use Teams. You don't want the user to use OneDrive. This is where you take it off. You can see that this business basic, it comes with exchange plan one. If you remove this exchange plan one, anything regarding email, calendar, anything that has to do with emails is gone. So you see Microsoft Booking, Form, Planner, Power Automate for Office 365, SharePoint, Plan One. You can see these are all the applications that comes with Business Basic. All these, like you're seeing here, Whiteboard, Yama Enterprise, Viva Learning Seed, everything that comes with Business Basic is what you have here. All the applications, all the features of Business Basic. If you decide to remove any of the features, then the user will not have access to it again. again. We now have access to it again. So I think I will stop there for questions. Don't forget, we still have assignments, create user using PowerShell um, script from a CSV file, and automatically from that PowerShell assign license to those users that will be created using that same PowerShell script. So any question, and let me know if I added to your confusion. Any question? Any question? No question.
Not from here. Well
Okay,
understood.
no problem. So in absence of no question, tomorrow we go to and teams and group. We talk about all the teams, Microsoft 365 group teams. Um, we we talk about conditional access. Still considering. We are not going to talk about conditional access. We just start from active teams and group. Then we'll talk about it. We'll come to this policy. Then from there, we'll now go to um, organization profile settings. So after organization profile settings, we'll now go to exchange proper. We start with exchange. Then might start doing some organization customization, some different things. Then we'll move on from there. We'll see how far we can go this month. So thank you. If there is no question, enjoy the rest of your evening. Help me to reach out to any we did not see her in class today.